Okay, we're going live.
You're on.
Good day, everybody. This is Brian Tarian and Jam here with you for our Wednesday live session. Thanks for joining. We expect that there will be at least 200 people here today, so welcome, welcome. Right, Jam? All right, today we have a special agenda on top. We're going to talk about and show you some information about what conditions qualify to help you get your Social Security disability benefits and what conditions qualify to help you keep your disability benefits. So we have that on tap here. Baxter, Lana, welcome, welcome. Jam is going to put some questions into the chat. If you would take some time to answer the questions, the survey, it will help us direct our presentation. So in advance of doing that, I've got some interesting questions that were asked this week. I'm going to cover those. And for those of you that are new here, or if you're not new, welcome back. But we do these events weekly, most weeks, and they're intended to cover like kind of big picture items that will help you understand what you need to do to get your disability benefits approved fast, or help you keep them, or help you maximize them. So those are the three categories of information that we cover here at the Disability Digest. So I hope you enjoy the show today. Oh, one other thing. We're going to take some time to answer your individual questions that, that you have. All right. So thanks again. Eric, welcome. Eileen, Brenda, Corrine, welcome. So, all right, let's get going. I'm going to share my screen here.
Okay, poll is up.
Poll is up. Okay. You ready to go, Jim?
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Before I do that, I'm just going to cover the questions first. I don't need to share my screen for that. So the first one, and this is from our YouTube channel questions. What to do when doctors change medical records to fit their narrative? Listen up, for those of you trying to get approved or already approved. This is an issue. It's an issue for veterans. It's an issue for people that have work comp claims. It's an issue for doctors that have their own private agenda. It doesn't, so he goes on, this is from Tony, goes on to include the reasons for your visit described are not consistent with like who I am and what I'm feeling. I've been experienced back pain for 15 years. I have a stroke, etc. Like, how do I fix this? So, first of all, for those of you that might be thinking, this doesn't happen to me, maybe you don't know because you haven't looked at your medical records. You got to look at your medical records. And everybody has access to your patient portal. And we're just about to release some information about a new regulation that is going to make it essential for everybody to have all of their records in their patient portal, not just their office visits, not just a few doctor's notes, everything. So review your patient portal. If you don't have one, set one up and take a look at what is going on. What is reported? What is the doctor or doctors saying about after you go to your visit? So that's number one tip. Number two is follow the information that we provide here about how to communicate to your doctors. Take the information that you've done in your journal, condensed version of your limitations, bring them into your doctor's appointments. And make sure that you say, Doc, I'd like you to put my limitations in the medical records. This is all very manageable. You can advocate for yourself. It is totally the law. It is their right to do it. These problems can be solved. So regular doctors do this. If you have a work comp doctor from maybe you were hurt at work, those doctors are paid by insurance companies to evaluate you, right? And the insurance companies don't want to pay the claim. So those doctors want to keep their paychecks. So there's all kinds of bias in those types of reporting instances. So that's a tip for Tony and others with your medical records. Regardless if you're going through the process, try to get approved, or after you're approved, that one applies. Here's one from Sherlock on from our YouTube channel. I do 2 things to supplement my income, and I'm just bringing these up because I don't know, Jam, maybe the last 4 weeks we've done information about how to supplement your income. And if you've missed those, I encourage you to go back on the Wednesday events and just check them out, because we've covered things that others are doing, things that work, things that you can do. But this one is from Sherlock. Does freelance editing and also does mystery shopping. And has a YouTube account associated with it. So both of these activities combined bring me various amounts of monthly income. I can control my hours and my time easily. So if you happen to be out there listening and you're doing something that has allowed you to earn some extra money that is conducive with your disability, we're always looking to collect ideas so we can share them with others and help them, take the sting of this inflation. I just learned today that the cost of food has gone up from this point last year. Food pricing has gone up 13%. Wall Street Journal. It's a lot of money. All right. All right. So now I'm going to share my screen and get on. Oh, I have one other thing before we get started, but I definitely share my screen. This is kind of entertainment, educational movie. It's called Escape Fire. And if anybody has watched this, you just say, hey, I've watched it in the comments. Kind of curious what how many people are aware of this. Escape Fire is it's a documentary that covers the healthcare system in the United States. And it compares our healthcare system to others in other, developed parts of the world. And there's part of this that you're likely familiar with, and how the doctors, what their incentive is, and how our healthcare is not driven towards wellness. It's just driven towards repeat treatment, and some things that you can do about this. But it's definitely educational, and it will also help you understand what the process is like and how to manage the doctors and the treatment, much like I shared you with the tips for Tony. But if you're a veteran or know of a veteran that's out there, there's a fantastic segment in this, about 30% of the movie, that talks about treatment at the VA and how they have traditionally used methods that are reliant upon heavy medication to deal with things. But they've recently pivoted, and they're using alternative medicine. And it's, it could be meditation, yoga, different processes like that. What's the stuff they stick the needles in you, Jam? I'm drawing a blank. Acupuncture.
Yeah.
So check it out. I don't know if you can find a bootleg version out there on YouTube. This is the trailer right here. Just type in Escape Fire movie in Google and you'll find it. But you can probably rent it from YouTube for $1, $1.99. You'll get that back in tips to deal with the process. So I hope you find that helpful. Okay. All right. For our main event today, we're going to talk about the top conditions according to Social Security that people get their disability benefits for, and they keep their disability benefits for. And everybody has Jam to thank for this topic. She was the one that suggested that we cover it. So shout out to Jam. Are we getting any feedback from like conditions that people have? Are we getting anything like that yet, Jam?
Yes. 17 votes. 100% yes.
Okay, and again, that question is, remind me, please.
It's a, do you think your condition meets a blue book listing?
Okay, all right, great. Well, we have a lot of confidence out there. Okay, so here's what I've done, folks. This is from the annual Social Security budget, and I'll put the link below the video, and the link will be like to this page right here. So it's annual statistics from 2020. And yeah, it's 2022, but these are released every November for the prior year. So there isn't, this is the most recent information. So what I did is I went to this publication and downloaded it. But when you get to this page, if you're really like interested in getting all of the like nuts and bolts of Social Security information, there's a lot of other reports here. So I went into page 58, which is up on the screen right now. And page 58 lists the conditions. And I'm going to go through this in a different format in a minute. But it lists the conditions, and out of the 8.151 million disability recipients, it breaks down the conditions based on numbers that were approved, right? I'd be curious if anybody wanted to take a guess of what the most common condition out there is that people get approved. We should have thought of that one in advance, Jim. But if somebody wants to chime in, I'd like to hear feedback. All right. So what I've done here is I've gone through and I've taken out the top 22 conditions, and they're listed by name, like infectious disease. These are random injuries, like if somebody was in a car accident or something like that, mental disorders, autism, so on and so forth. And because the theme here is what's the most common, I went through and looked at the numbers for approval. And the category that has the highest number of disability recipients is this musculoskeletal system, and has 2.7 million out of the 8. Now, musculoskeletal, Jam, you know what it is now, right?
Yes.
By the way, there's 84 of you viewing out there. Thank you very much for your attendance. If you're joining us in progress, we're going through our main topic. We're going to take some questions at the end. So welcome, welcome. So musculoskeletal is commonly for back disorders. Degenerative disc disease, maybe you have a back fusion, curvature of the spine, things like that. So that is the number one way in which people get their disability benefits approved. Now, if you have one of those conditions and you're seeing, oh, well, I have a musculoskeletal disorder, I should meet a listing. Meeting the listing and having the condition is one thing, but there is different criteria that is required for you to meet the condition. And in short, it is that for musculoskeletal, I use this as an example, is that you have the certain disorder that meets the listing. It's one. Two is, and this information that goes through and what needs to be evaluated, like what needs to be done for treatment on that condition. So you have the condition, what needs to be done for treatment on it. And then down here, they have a grading system on muscle function. So you could have the first two, you could have the condition and the treatment. But if your grading function is 0 to 5, if it's 4 or 5, then your limitations are normal, none, or limited, which would be good, and you wouldn't meet the listing. So you need to be able to have all the different categories. So there's a false sense of security that concerns me about people in two ways. One is they think that just because they have the condition, they meet it. And unfortunately, that is not it. And for those of you that are 100%, yes, I think I meet a listing. I'm in hopes that you cover all the required categories for each one of these listings. So I'm going to go back to my chart here. So 2.7, I think that the next one was depression and mental disorders. 1 million roughly. And then nervous system disorders, 797,000. Circulatory could be heart, blood pressure, items like that. Now, the last point I want to cover in this is endocrine, 215,000. This is mostly for diabetes. Diabetes is a very common condition. I don't know the numbers of people that have it in the US, but I know the number of people that come through that are looking for assistance. A lot of them have it. So this is an example of a lot of people having a condition, but not a lot of people getting approved for the condition. So we're actually going to be going through and providing you with some in-depth information about what exactly one needs to have in a diabetic diagnosis, treatment, and limitations to qualify. Because on the surface, when I look at these numbers, it appears to me like a lot of people are missing it. They don't have the right components in place, because if they did, that number would be higher. Okay. So I want to pivot now. Jim, did I miss anything?
I
No?
believe no.
Okay. So the wrap up here is these are the conditions in the replay. There'll be this information with the links, etc. So if you're watching this in the replay, just look below it or come back, like 45 minutes or an hour after this is done, and these information will be below in the replay. So what I would like to do now is take some questions that people have. So Jam, if you would do your fantastic job of helping me out, that would be great.
Okay, first one is from Delilah. If I am between 40 and 45, got approved a couple years ago, had to move. New doctors don't listen to me about how to document disability the way MDs did in my old town. I don't know what to do.
So I don't know, was it Delilah? Is that correct? I don't know if that question was presented after I went through the tips with Tony, but the tips that I provided for Tony are what you would need to do. And we have more information here at the Disability Digest, like in our YouTube videos. If you're a member, you can contact us and we can get you direct information on that. But if you're not able to get your doctors to accept your limitations in writing and get the correct information in your notes, that's one thing I didn't cover with Tony. You need to make a decision if you want to keep them or not. And you need to find somebody, because this is income insurance. I mean, I know with a budget that this same budget that I'm reading right here has pages on it that tell us that 50, I think it's 53 or 4,000 people will lose their benefits in the next 12 months as a result of a disability review. So you definitely need to make sure that you're taking care of your medical records. All right, Jam, what's next?
Hey there. Okay. So follow up on Delilah. I asked them to put limitations on records, but it's so much I have to write it down. Old doctors didn't mind getting digital version. New doctors bulk at entering this information into each visit notes. Help.
Okay, I think this will help you. If you're bringing them a lot of information, they're not going to put it in your notes. It's just my experience. Your objective of bringing limitations is I usually have a little book in here to use, but bring in one piece of paper that lists your limitations. I can sit for this long, I can stand for this long, I can lift this much, I sleep on average this amount of hours. Simple one page. Hand it to them, have them put it in the file. When you go back the next time, you do the same thing, your keys. So I believe what's happening is they're like getting freaked out because you're giving them too much information. And what you really need is you just need those simple limitations. And what you're saying to the doctors is, you're treating me. These are my limitations. You wouldn't know them because you don't live with me. Put them in my medical records. And then when I come back next time, we're doing a comparison. Try that. That should help.
Okay. Next is from the Minister Corner. Just wondering if any company is still hiring at homework. Currently draw SSDI for 10 years looking for supplement my income, and how do you explain to employer you haven't worked in 10 years?
Great. Yes and yes. So we have in the last few weeks on Wednesdays covered different ways to seek employment, start a business, supplement your income. And there's a lot of opportunity out there right now. I would go back and the Upwork one, Jam, was that 2 or 3 weeks ago? I don't know. If you look at the Wednesdays, 2 or 3 weeks, 3 maybe. Go in and look at that. That will give you an idea, like when you go in to Upwork and understand the freelancing process and who's looking for workers, that will give you an idea. And there isn't, for the 10-year gap that you have, I don't know your exact situation, but if you've done any volunteering or if you've done anything to keep your skills sharp, then you could communicate that. But if you've been out of the game for a while, there's no doubt that you need to overcome that. Maybe you offer to do some trial work, or you bid on jobs lower, things like that. That's one. The other thing is NTI at Home. It's a company that we partnered with. That's a traditional job environment. And you can go in there and go through a skills assessment with them. And they'll evaluate you and say, okay, well, listen, it shows that you've been out of work for 10 years because you're not up to speed. Or maybe you are up to speed, who knows? But that's another way that you could do that. So again, go back through the last few Wednesdays, look in the show notes and below the video, and it has links to these different resources.
All right, from Natalie, I'm 61 years old and I'm already approved. I've been on SSDI for 3 years. Do I still get CDR reviews?
Yeah, I mean, there's been people that have commented on our YouTube channel that have been reviewed twice at 64. So I would just definitely be prepared to be reviewed. This goes for everybody. Until you reach full retirement age.
All right, from Sherlock, I think this is just sharing. Hi, this is Sherlock again. Speaking of mystery shopping and the high price of food, I am able to perform my mystery shop assignments at the supermarket so that my groceries are free and I'm paid to shop.
What? That's great.
I know.
Wow, I'm interested. Good for you. Thanks for sharing that. I don't know how one would start mystery shopping. I expect others are out there wondering the same, but if you have any tips on that, we would be grateful if you'd be willing to share.
Okay. Next one is from Dentist T. I'm currently on reconsideration. My SSA online says step 4 out of 5, a final non-medical review is being processed to make sure you still meet the requirements of disability benefits. Is that good?
Well, it doesn't give me an indication or a comfort level that, yeah, you're going to get approved. To me, it means that they're working through the process. What it does, when it would mean something, is if you were to receive a clear indication that says something like this. We have confirmed that you meet the medical requirements, and we are just now checking to confirm that you meet the non-medical requirements. Now, the non-medical requirements are just the, have you worked enough over the last 10 years to qualify for a disability check? And most people know their check amount before they start the application process. So that would be like, that'd be easy. So that's when it would be helpful, but good luck.
All right, from Jiga 1017, just came alive. Where does stroke rank, especially for CDR with no improvement over the past 7 years?
I need to hear that one again, Jim. I didn't get it.
Sorry. Where does stroke rank, especially for CDR with no improvement over the past 7 years?
Stroke, STROKE.
Yep,
Okay. Approved for stroke? Was that the condition that you were approved for?
not
at what?
indicated.
Not indicated. Okay. Well, I'll address it that way. If you are approved for a stroke, and let's say, for example, you lost mobility in your right arm and your right leg, and it prevented you from being able to work, and that condition still exists, then yeah, you would still meet the qualifications based on your previous approval decision. Or should. Well, here's the thing. Meeting it and proving it are two different things, right? So if you, let's just dig into this just a little bit more. If you were expected to have a treatment program after your approval, like your doctor had a treatment program for you, and you followed through that, which involved maybe physical therapy and some other measures to help you out, then you'd be in good shape. If the doctor had suggested that you do something and you didn't do it, and that's in your medical records, and you have still the same condition, that could be an issue.
All right, follow up from Delilah. I did exactly as what you've said. I've made it as simple as possible. If they just stick it in the file, is that really their notes?
Yeah, sure. It's in your medical records. Yeah. Yeah. So in other words, if they don't put it in the file, or they're not willing to put it in the file, they're saying that they don't agree with you. So then that's a whole different conversation. And you're like, I mean, I'm the one reporting it. You can test me and do whatever you want, but can't stand for more than 15 minutes. Good for you, Delilah, for getting clarification on that. When you come back after your next doctor visit, we love to get an update from you.
All right, next one's from Karine Spruck. Can I go to a neurologist under my medical insurance along with a different neurologist for work comp? How do you get a patient portal on private doc appointment?
So yes, you should be able, this is an insurance company question, but your insurance company through your work comp is going to be one issue. Your private insurance that you have would be a regular doctor that is going to likely do things differently. So yes, you can do that. Patient portal, the accessing your patient portal, as you would contact your doctors. Now, some people have all of their doctors under one group, which makes it super easy. But if that's not the case, and you've got a primary care that has a portal, and you've got a rheumatologist that's got a portal, you're going to need access to 2 different portals. So if you're just starting the doctoring process, this is something to think about for you out there in the disability world. The ability to see your medical records, easily see all your medical records for you and others that are evaluating you for approval and keeping your benefits is important. One of the common causes for complications to get and keep is getting the medical records. It's just fact. You might have 5 doctors, but they only get 3, so you just see part of the picture. So if you're changing doctors or you're just starting the process, and you can have all your treatment done under one umbrella with one portal, and that's going to work for you, there's advantages to that, in my opinion, to help you.
Okay, so next one, getting along alone. I am 51 and have just undergone a review for the first time in 12 years. I worry I may be terminated. I just had C5 to C6 spinal fusion and went very good.
Okay. So your concern for termination is because the fusion went well, you might be viewed to return to work?
Yeah, I
I
think that's your
expect.
question.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I won't argue with you. It's valid concern, but in my, there's 2 ways to look at it. If you are able to work and go back to work, in my opinion, it's better to work than it is to not work. But let's say that that's the situation, then you have a couple different choices. If you get denied, you can appeal it, and we have a complete CDR course here at the Disability Digest that's put together with industry expert James Mitchell Brown. So if you're a member, you can ask for it, and we will release it to you, and that will help you understand like where you're at in the process, what you should be doing, what if you get denied. But I think in the big picture of it, I would focus on the things that you can control. Speculating that your review is done and whether it is or however it goes, it really is not within your control. What you can control, is what to do next, right? And we can help you with that with the course. So hopefully that's helpful.
All right, so next one, Giga again. How do I streamline communication on blood pressure medications between my general practitioner, nephrologist, and cardiologist? They all have me on different blood pressure meds and I want to cut back.
I am, what's that? There was a show out there where you could actually ask for a lifeline to call somebody and get help. Did you ever hear that show? But that's a good question, and it's outside of my area of expertise. I'm wondering if there is anybody in the group that would be willing to opinion on streamlining the treatment.
Okay. Let's pause on that. This one's from Jabby. Hi, if the review is every 3 years, when is the start of the 3 years? Is it the date they approved you or the date they determined you to be disabled?
It would be the date that they found that you were disabled on your award letter. Yeah.
Natalie, do I get a disability lawyer if I get a medical review?
If you get a medical review. So is this question, are you approved or not approved? I think we're talking about probably approved medical review. Are you talking about a continuing disability review?
Give me 1 second. Okay, so she has severe Dupuytren's. I'm sorry, I don't know how to pronounce. So
Mhm.
contracture disease in both hands. Where does this fall with SSDI? And I have more than just C5 fusion. I also have that disease and 3 spinal conditions, 5th grade education, severe depression, carpal tunnel syndrome, and Crohn's disease.
Okay, so we don't know yet if is approved or not approved.
Yeah. So let's pause on that as well. This one's
Yeah.
from Lori. My husband is 56 and just recently had a stroke in July. He has only worked as a mason since 1988. When entering work history report, does he have to list every employer? All of the job are the same. Job
Yeah, I
description.
really should. 15 years at least. Yeah, it's important because 50 what years old, Jim?
56.
56. Okay. Yeah, at 56. If done right, the premise of the case would be that it's not able to do the type of work that has been doing for 15 years or more. So, and they're going to really look at that. So, yeah, to answer your question. Yep. So one thing, and before we take the next question, I'm just listening to the questions from Jam. And I want to remind everybody, it's not the conditions that you have that qualify you. And when you're communicating, like I've got XYZ condition, so on and so forth, that's of minimal value, really, because thinking back to my explanation earlier, it's the conditions that you have conditions they're diagnosed. That's one of the criteria. Second one is they're being treated. And the third is, despite, 1 and 2 that I mentioned, is you have limitations. So when you're communicating your situation, and this is going to help you to get approved or help you to keep your benefits, your conversation that you should be having is, I'm not able to sit for 15 minutes. I'm not able to stand for 15 minutes. I'm not able to wash a sink full of dishes without taking 3 breaks. I'm not able to climb a flight of stairs, can't lift a gallon of milk. Not able to do this because I have fibromyalgia, IBS, severe depression, and it's being treated by a doctor. So the limitations are at the forefront of your disability income, not your conditions. All right. Jan, you're doing a great job. What's next?
Thank you. Shout out to Luana Lawson. Thank you, Brian and Jam. Your information is educational and priceless.
Thank you. Love the feedback.
Follow-up from dentist C. Although it might not have that exact disease, it may equal 1 in severity, therefore disabled.
Is that a question or a statement?
Statement.
Okay.
Okay. So this one's from ADH in OH69. Jam, I had this issue with my mom's care, different docs under the same umbrella. I demanded they conference and reduce her meds, and they did. I suggest if under different umbrella, brings medication meds to each doctor and ask what should be done, stating he's taking this much med for this condition.
Okay, so there's 2 points here. This is great. Appreciate the contribution. I want to make sure I get it. First one was a conference, right? So second step was a sharing of information. Like, I've got this going on over here, this here, this here. It doesn't seem right. Let's sort it out. Okay. Thank you. Grateful for that.
Right. This one's from Lydia. How do I make sure they have all of my health records from my primary doctor and my orthopedic doctor?
Okay. Are you going through the approval process? And if so, at what stage are you?
No response yet. Follow up from getting along alone. I am already an SSDI but got reviewed. Will they deny me with all my medical problems? I am 51.
Tough to tell if they'll deny you or not. I mean, I wouldn't, it's difficult for me based on anybody's situation there to predict what Social Security would do. So I'm going to just say again, the key is focus on your treatment, communicating your limitations, understanding like the CDR process, what to do when you get the forms, how to send them back, what the responses are like, what happens if it's not good, what to do next, those things.
Okay, a follow up from Natalie asking if she should get a lawyer for her medical review. Yes, she is approved. This is for a review to keep my SSDI review. Will I need a disability lawyer?
You can appeal it on your own if you're comfortable with doing it. It's very similar to going through the disability approval process for the first time. So I just want to, in my position, I do the same thing when I talk to people about bringing them through the approval process here. I give them the information, have them make a decision. It's really your comfort level. But I mean, you have to keep in mind that you're in a legal argument, and if you're capable or have a team around you of people that can, execute and communicate in the right language, then do it on your own, right? If not, hire somebody. The thing is, it's hard to find people to do this work, the CDR work. We have resources, legal resources here for some of our members, but even that is limited. It's difficult because it's not attractive work financially for disability attorneys. So,
Right. From J. Michelle, is it unusual for after a review they send you 3 doctors after being on SSI for 4 years? Should I get me legal help before the doctors I go to 3 different doctors?
I don't know if it's necessary to get legal help, but the indication that they're sending you to different doctors is they're really scrutinizing you. And in the CDR course that we have, it gives you steps that you can do when you go to those visits. And we also have, for the approval process, there's like 6 very important things that you should do when you go to those exams. I would focus on that step right now and nailing those and making sure that when you go into those, that you're doing the 6 steps. Like one of the steps is bring an advocate, document the process, make sure what they do is properly reported. So you're a member here. If you're not, join us. I encourage you to do so. No charge for a membership. We'll cover that at the end, but we can get the information that'll help you with that.
Okay, this was from Elaine Arroyos. I believe you have covered this question earlier, but here it is. So can you tell me if the aneurysm of the aortic arc is a disability?
Would you repeat that, please?
Can you tell me if the aneurysm of the aortic arch?
Yeah. Well, no, and it goes back to, okay, you have conditions, they're diagnosed, you have that, right? And they're being treated. But what is the severity of it? Is that preventing you from being able to do work? If so, how? What is it that you're not able to do as a result of that? Can you stand? Can you sit? Can you lift? Can you bend? Can you stoop? Does it cause mental challenges?
Okay, this is from Lydia.
Okay.
Follow up. I just applied for SSDI.
I just want to pause. We have 210 visitors viewing out there. So thank you all for coming. This has been fantastic. Jam, if you were to guess 200, you would have been right. What's the next question? Jam, did I lose you? Yeah, I think you're on mute. Let me check. Maybe we lost your internet. I'll see if I can pick up.
I'm back.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, sorry for that. So she just applied, but she is getting long-term disability from her job.
Okay. And the question is?
I think that's a follow-up from how do I make sure they have all of my health records for my primary.
Okay. All right. So if you're managing your case on your own, then you want to communicate with your Social Security case manager. So if you have 5 doctors, you want to make sure that when you started your application, that those 5 doctors and all of their medical records for the important period of time are on file with Social Security. And unfortunately, that's a phone call. If you are using a Social Security disability representative, an attorney or non-attorney, then you want to direct that question to them, because they would have access or should have access to your case file at Social Security, and they'd be able to see that all of your 5 doctors in my example are either there or they're not. Okay.
Okay, follow-up ADH and OH 69. When I receive my form 3369, should I return to Social Security, or since you, Disability Digest, is handling my case, will I look forward to DSSA?
Right.
Okay.
Jam will put in the chat
Yeah.
notes the specific directions and how to deal with that. Thanks for bringing it to our attention.
All right. Okay. Moving on, Natalie.
Okay, I've got time for maybe 2 more questions. Jam, I think we lost your audio again.
Yeah, so I had a lawyer that got me approved for my initial disability that got approved. I don't feel comfortable. Can I use the same lawyer? This is for a medical review.
Can you use the same lawyer? Was that the question?
Yes.
You could ask them. I mean, if they do this work, if you do ask them to do it, ask them, you know, how many of these they've done. But for sure, if you have a comfort level with somebody, that'd be a perfect place to go.
Okay. LS Couch question about item 10 on page 2 of form SSA 16 F6. Do I need to refuse my pension to avoid the 2/3 reduction of my SSDI? I already approved to get pension due to disability early. What do I do?
I don't want to, I'm concerned about answering that in this forum. I don't have enough information on the big picture. I mean, you're welcome, if you're a member here, to reach out to us. If not, join us. We have advocates here. You could ask that question. We could get you an answer. I just want to make sure it's done right. Pension's a big thing. I don't want to screw it up. Not to say that I'm guessing at the other questions, but I'm comfortable with those and not with this.
Okay, that's it for now. Okay, here's
Perfect.
new one. Vince Johnson, I was denied sleep apnea claim. I filed it as primary for the first time a year ago. Since then, I have a nexus saying it's connected to PTSD. How do I apply for it again, secondary to this time?
Well, how to apply for it again, how we can help you here. It's a few ways. One is you can follow all the information we have that's on our YouTube channel and other social media, help you understand the process, like today, how to communicate your condition. For a customized approach to get the best results, I would suggest that you join us as a member. There's no charge for it. You complete an evaluation, get a better understanding where you're at. Then when you come in here, you have the opportunity to talk to an advocate, live advocate here, and they're going to review your situation and they'll go through the two options with you. You can do this on your own with our disability approval course. And that course breaks the process of disability down, the application down into steps, like what to do to apply, what to do to complete the forms, what do you get your evidence. And it's put together with industry experts, different attorneys like Attorney John Ginsburg, Carl Osterhow, ex-Social Security employee, and a lot of feedback from you. It works great for managing a case and doing it all on your own. You save the legal fees. If you don't want to do that, or you want to have it done for you, then that's a conversation that you could have. We do work with a limited amount of people here to work with them independently to get approved as a representative. And it may or may not be a fit to have that done. So when you come here, you get the information, you get the course, and you consider having representation done if it's a fit. So that's how we can help you. Any other questions? I'll take one more, Jim. I've got to wrap up and get ready for my next commitment.
Yeah, I think we're good. That's it.
Okay, great. Listen, everybody, fantastic group out here today. I thank you, all 234 of you that joined us for this event. We're here most Wednesdays. If you know somebody that could benefit from this information, there'll be a share button on the replay. You can just send it out to them and they can have a listen. And if you're a member here and we haven't heard from you for a while, we would encourage you to, update us. Just click the link, come through like you're joining as a member, and update your membership. And if you're not a member, then we can best help you if you do complete the evaluation. We know where you're at. We know what information we have so that we can help you either get approved fast, hopefully, keep your benefits in the event that you're going through an overpayment, or maybe you're one of those folks out here with a CDR, or maximize. People are getting pinched with the economic situation, living on a fixed income. And we have a lot of information that can help you with that. So I thank you for your time, effort, attention. Jam, as always, fantastic job. Thank you for your assistance. And we'll be back next week. Make it a great day, everybody. Be well.
Bye, guys.
Okay, I believe the stream has ended. Great. Jam. You're on mute again.
Stream is not over, I believe.